Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is. So, I'm not sure. I just wanted to talk, I guess. I always wanted to be an actress, singer, songwriter, etc. That world. There's literally, there's nothing else, but the things that do appeal to me, like even going to college for criminal justice, being a cop, being a private investigator was really the thing. Like, I want to be a spy. I want to be da-da-da-da-da. For real, that was a thing. Teacher, astronaut, any and all of the above. I wanted to experience it all, and I guess now, looking at my life, I will. I mean, no, I'm not like going to the moon, but in terms of, how they say a mom, a mother, a parent, a caregiver is everything. And we are in many ways, just not in all of the ways. I'm a nurse, but I'm not a nurse the way that a nurse is a nurse, because I'm not doing it all day, every day, nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, I am, but it's not the only thing I'm doing. My kids don't get hurt constantly. They don't need cared for in that manner. So kudos and hello, yes, to all of the nurses out there. We love you and you're great. You are. But anyway, yeah, so I want to do that. And I remember my mom specifically when I asked her. I was very young. And I was like, if I had a chance, though, you wouldn't let me. And first of all, let me go ahead and tell you right now, especially as an adult, if you're asking permission to do or be something or anything, I don't know if this kid is serious, but maybe she should stop hitting people. Thought I was about to witness a fight. Anyway, I always thought, well, Mom, that is me making something of myself. And it is. Going out and finding a career and doing all the things. But here lately, I think, and I've always been a writer, but it's about getting back to being able to write. And now I can look at it and think, this was the epiphany. This is what I felt called, whatever, to share. We have to live. We have to live in order to have a story to tell. If that makes any sense. So I had been really like binge watching The Waltons, Little House on the Prairie. Of course, I love the Andy Griffith Show. Things like that. I love Roseanne. I love all. Anyway, these are stories, for the most part, like, if you were going to nutshell them, I would say these are all people who were just living. And, like, say, John Boy Walton himself, or at least how it's portrayed, Laura Wiles Engler or something. Ingalls. I've got gum at the roof of my mouth, so it's kind of hard to talk. It's like I have a retainer in, but I don't. And these people were just living. They were literally just being I'm getting goosebumps, and I'm feeling emotional, because that's what I do. They were just people who were living life, and like the dad, Charles Ingalls, or whatever his real name was. I think that was supposed to be his real name, though. But anyway, the thing I've always liked about the show, whether it's all true stories or a little bit edited or not true at all. And of course I know, because that is how, I want to say media, so I'm just going to say that's how media works. That's how entertainment works. You include things going on at that time in life in the world, whether it's political, with like, I know they brought up the concept of Indians and, the peace between Indians and, white man and judgment. And they brought up, why is that? See, that's bullshit. The difference in colors, races, we'll just say that, because why do I feel like saying BLACK is a bad word. It's not. And anyone with a brain knows it. But anyway, people who aren't living in their ego, poor pity me. It's all about me, 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 me. But I always liked seeing, to me, where they were the revolutionaries. You know, the Ingalls family, the Waltons. They loved and accepted everyone. They may have even had reservations about them, but they were strong enough and confident enough in themselves and in their life and in their world to stand up and be a part of. And not to just immediately judge them and put them down. So, whatever. Maybe that wasn't real at all. But those parts are relevant to me, and they absolutely, without question, resonate deep in my being from the second I was born. And I do see a pattern usually that most Sagittariuses, we are like that. And I don't know, I tend to notice that, like, when people talk about a Sagittarius, that's a very, we're on our own. You're on your own, kid. You always have been. Yes, she's a Sagittarius. And so is Brittany. And so is Miley. And we're the best of the best of the best of the best of the best. Like, that's it. The best. That's what best means. But, Michael Jackson. So, for me, for years, I would get in my own head. I would basically live in my head. And I would be like, well, if I do this, then this will happen. If I do this, then this will happen. If I do this, they'll think this. If I say this, they'll think that. And at the end of the day, everyone is still going to think whatever they want to think. I've had to learn at 36, after 14 years of being a mom, after 15 years of knowing the man I am married to, and we had a rough start, like, little things like the things I didn't say when we had first met and we were young and we were dating, and I've had a lot of reflecting to do in this last year, and I've kind of thought I didn't play my part. I didn't play my role. Not like the role people wanted me to play. No, I probably did play that because I didn't talk. I didn't speak up. I didn't fight back. I didn't show up at your door and when I should have. And that's probably for the best. You know, a lot of people are probably like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. But the thing is, I should have been able to speak up for myself and defend myself and defend my son and etc. But because, no, I'll be the bad guy. I'll be this, I'll be that. I'm not coming down to their level. And I didn't, but I still could have at least just said, I could have said it to the whole world just like this. I could have recorded it face to face with them and shared it just to have it and to show my side and how I handled it. But I didn't. Of course, in 2012, 13, and 14 and all that, all of this wasn't, but the point is, I learned I wasn't playing my part. You know, when people tell the story, you know, all of the people who were a part of it in some way, threaded there, that invisible cord, it's all left for interpretation, regardless of what, because had I said something, you know, like, no, I don't want you to do that, because if I'm pregnant, I don't want to have to wonder who the daddy is, or I don't want them to think that it's you, or blah, 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 because somewhere in my gut, I knew that, but I didn't say those words. They were in my head. I knew them up here. The story is in me. My truth is in me, has been always, since day one, but at the end of the day, if you know, were to put all the people in my story, like, kind of tied to my story together and let them sit in a room and talk, they could all still just say, yeah, well, it must have been because of this. And they can still say that and believe that and feel that. But at the end of the day, for people who aren't in it judging me and just deciding to have a certain, you know, opinion about it, because you can't change someone else's insides. They're based on their insides, what they carry from their experiences in their own life and their own interpretation of events, how they feel inside. But at least if I had spoken up and said something, not saying they would say it, but they would know as well as I know that that is my truth. That actually is true and real. 927, these sevens. And so yeah, I've just kind of gotten to the point where I just told my husband last night, we've been married 10 years, going on 11. And I just told him last night, if you watch Gilmore Girls, you get it. I'm all in. And I said, be ready. I hope you are ready. I said, we'll see what happens. That's what I tend to do. We're going to go in, we're going to do this, and well, whatever comes out of it, you know? And that's kind of where I'm at, because I've been trying to fix everything in my head without, and I thought that was me being present. I thought that was me taking part, but it was me seeing it from a higher perspective up here, trying to fix all the little problems, or whatever, trying to fix it all at once, rather, chasing these little problems. And now I'm like, no, I'm understanding that, no, I have to draw a line. I have to have a boundary. It has to be understood, and I have to be there and present and fully saying, this isn't acceptable. We won't be doing this again. And just continuing to do, and it's not just about that, but in general, that's the concept, is me being present and speaking up. When I feel it, when I think it, say it. And apologize later. Ask for forgiveness later, etc. But I haven't been playing my part. So that's kind of, I hope, maybe that was too much to say something so small. We have to live, we have to be living in order to have a story to tell, to get us to that point. In my mind, I'm like, why can't this happen? Why can't that happen? Why can't I just drive off to California and go audition and da-da-da-da? Well, you're not even making moves now, so you're not even trying. I don't see you buying a ticket. I don't see you saving back money to drive to California. I don't see you doing any drama down here at the local college, which is very well known for its, theater and all of that. But yeah, we have to live. We have to live in order to have a story. It may not go how we want. Every little thing is never going to go how we want. It may not be too fruitful, but we do have to live. And we do have to live. I don't even like to use the word but, because most things are, can be, and will be true at the same time. I hate when they say, she's a 10 but. No. And I've said this before, but if you're not on my Facebook, you haven't heard it. No, you're a 10, and because, and this is something I've had a hard time with in my relationship with my husband, is that we're going to have crappy qualities. There are going to be parts of us that need work. Every once in a while, we're going to lose our ish. We're going to yell. We're going to scream. We're going to fight. We might even say things that are mean to each other, that are weaknesses and hurtful, and that we know we shouldn't be saying. And maybe we don't feel that way at all. But it's there on the table in the back of our mind, and we can use it when we hurt. And as I've said, that's kind of how it works. When you get hurt, when you whatever, and then it comes out as anger. But when you get a feeling, the worse I think that the comeback is, or the retort, it's because it runs so deep. It hurts you so big. That's your way of saying, this hurts so big. Well, that's because it hurts so deep. It hurts so deep in that moment. And that's why we can't live in our emotions. Because in that moment with our emotions, emote ions that are emoting us. Don't let them emote you. Don't let them control you. You're not a puppet, or whatever it's called that hangs on the strings. A marionette, puppet, doll, whatever. You have to live. You have to be present. Deep breaths. Lots of prayer. Pray to whomever, whatever, whenever, wherever, as long as you know that what you're praying to is simply your highest self, and you accept that. Just accept it. Accept and receive the knowledge. And discuss things. We're not arguing because we're throwing out ideas, talking, and we disagree and have different ideas. That doesn't make it an argument. It doesn't mean you're wrong, and it doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're two different people, or 5 different people, or 7 different people in my family's case growing up, and you're discussing it, and God puts you there, all of you different people, to discuss it, and to hopefully find a common ground, a solution for the root, or in some cases for the most important thing. Like for me lately, I have felt like I'm here for the kids at this point. I'm finally kind of living my story, and I'm like, look, I got 4 kids, y'all. Yeah. And I started off with one. And I was single, and I literally told so many of my friends, I'm like, no, you're good. Like, you're gonna have your man and your kids. I'm gonna die alone with just my son. And that's really what I believed. And that's really what I was kind of aiming for, because I originally I was like, I'm not having kids. Like every angry, mad, ignorant, insecure, whatever, young person today, or any day. I was very adamant for years. I'm not having kids. Well, that didn't last long. So I was like 21 when I got pregnant. But anyway, it took me a long time, and I really had to look at myself. However, in this case, for me, and I think with a lot of people and young people who haven't figured themselves out, it meant putting me in a room basically all the time with myself. And by myself, I mean my husband. Because after being with him for however long, and with my children as we kept creating them, and I would look at whatever bothered me about them, I do it. And I don't like it. So, it took, apparently I'm a slow learner. I thought I was a fast learner. It took me 10 years, because it was around about last April. Last July would have been our 10-year anniversary and whatnot. So, in a month and a half or two is our 11-year anniversary. But it took me being in that environment again and paying attention and having to look around and having to make the hard decision to constantly stay instead of quitting and giving up and leaving. And that took having these kids rely on me and needing, a home and a place and being comfortable at least. And I don't think, that's not me saying stay in a bad, unhealthy, toxic relationship. I'm not for the 3D benefits or for the 3D whatever. We have our home, our own home. We don't belong to anyone else for the most part, we're not living by someone else's rules. People can't just come in and kick us out whenever they want, although apparently they can, because I've seen plenty of videos of ICE just walking around. What does ICE even stand for? Immigration something enforcement. Okay, whatever. Sorry, we're just not gonna do that right now. I know that's a slippery slope, but I'm just saying, apparently we're not. Because at the end of the day, unless we band together as billions of people in America / on the planet, they can walk into anybody's home any moment and do whatever they want. Who's going to stop them? We've all seen the clip. We've seen him say it. We are the U.S. government. We are not going to fund you. Or some ish like that. Okay, broskies. So anyway, no, I don't do political. I don't. And I've always not, because I always thought I get too emotional. It's too deep. It runs too deep. But I hadn't learned to check out. Not that I don't feel. I'll feel. But I have learned right here, right now, in this moment when we're having a discussion or we're having a debate, we had those a lot back in the day, those emotions don't matter. They will help me to make decisions. They will help me to judge and to guide. But they're not, what's the word? They're not the actual, they're not driving. They're not the driving force. They cannot be. They can't be. My emotions cannot be the driving force. It's bad. It could have and would have been very, 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 very bad. Way back, like I said, when I had my son, soon after I'd first had him, and there was a lot going on, on the internet and stuff with people and things, and it's not his. Oh, no wonder he's so cute, and da-da-da-da-da. Bitter. Whatever the hell that means. Christopher Titus does it, and bitter. I don't know. But, I was at work one day when I had what I called my Britney 2007 breakdown, and this was 2011. Pretty sure it was still 2011. But anyway, I had to work. And it's kind of sad that I have to work kept me from something that seemed to matter so much, which it didn't. My son was in no danger. It didn't matter. It's an illusion. Never forget that all of the 3D BS, including having a roof over your head, CPS this and CPS that, and this, it's an illusion. Those are illusions of danger. We're not in any actual real danger. You will not die. You will live. And you can conquer, and you will overcome when you choose to do so. So, yeah, the only thing in that moment that was stopping me was that very, very childlike mindset of, I have to be at work, I can't leave, I'll get in trouble. But also, it was, if I do that, I go to jail, I go to prison, and really over this, and then in a way, they've won, and da-da-da-da-da. So it was a little more than that, but, I mean, on the surface, it really was just, in that immediate moment, it really was, I have to work. And I remember specifically telling my friend on the phone, because she had called me. We didn't call. Even back then, we were not phone talkers. But she called me immediately because she had seen the post, she commented on it, and she needed to clear her name real quick. But no, she was like, I spoke my piece. I said what I said, and I said, well, that's fine. Don't tell me anything else about it. Don't call me about it again. Don't even comment on the post. Nothing. I said, I can't take this. I can't do this. And it was the first time for me in 21 years, because my birthday's not until November. So as long as it was still whatever month I just said, a year, 2011, 21 or 22 years old, the first time in my life that I felt anxiety. I'm sorry, the second time. Like what people describe as anxiety, something that growing up I didn't understand. I was always like, how are you guys, just say it. It's just words, just say it. Back then, words were just words to me. I knew what they meant, though. I didn't say things like, lives behind when you live a street before. That's not behind. Anyway. That was the first time I really experienced anxiety and anger that affected my nervous system. Not in the same way that it did the first time. The first time it was over my mom before she passed away, but then she passed away in 2010, and a few months later I met him, and then 9 months later we split up, and then about a month and a half later I found out I was pregnant, and then 9 months later he came out. I guess that alone caused me not to live. That was a part of it. That was a huge part of it. But fear, obviously. And that's why emotions cannot emote us. We cannot allow that. We cannot. We have to control us. We, up here in the back of our mind, we are very subconsciously in control of a lot more than we even think or feel or believe, and that's where manifestation comes in. But we have to live. You have to live in order to have a story to tell. You know, you gotta play the game. And it's like, I thought I was playing the game, bro. I thought I was over here being the chillest, coolest motherfucker. No, you weren't. Anyway, about to have to go clocking and all that. So I hope that was everything that I felt the need to say. Something about veal. Veal keeps coming up. But I'm kind of like, I'll have to look it up. But in the show Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I love that show and I've been watching it. If you don't, you should. But I guess it won't do you any good anyway if you're not like looking and reading between the lines or searching or doing introspection. Or shadow work. It may not really help you any. But the perception that I have in my head and applying the things going on in that show to right now, the concept, just like with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the concept of the humans, the mortals, in this realm, acting like the humans with magical powers, the witches in the other realm, are monsters, and treating them like they are a monster. If you don't draw that parallel in almost every Disney movie, in every story ever since the beginning of time, if you're not seeing that, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. I was a Disney girl. All I wanted to do. I mean, there was a time when I was like, I'm going to work for Disney. I still would. They probably would not have me. They would not have me. Because I'm in an era and a place in my life after 36 years where I'm working really hard at being present. And that involves F-ups. That involves inappropriate things people shouldn't say or do. And I'm going to do every one of them. That's right. I just decided that at 24:07 on my clock. I'm going to do all the things and say all the things and be all the things everyone else can. Why can't I? And why shouldn't we? But that being said, just know my priorities are, like I said, they're up there. I'm not. This is important too. I've also come to conclude, I'm sure you've seen, and if you haven't, you should, Uptown Girls. Is that what it's called? The Dakota Fanning and Brittany Murphy. Fundamentals are the building blocks of fun. So again, you have to live to have a story to tell. In order to get a story to tell, or to be somebody that people want to talk about, want to tell the story about, want to learn from, you got to be there. You got to be there happening. You got to be present and doing and saying. And you don't want to do it out of emotions, because that's you being controlled and emoted by the ions of other people. And we don't want that. So anyway, you got to do the deep breath. You got to be the calm in the storm. You don't have to be. That might not be your story, but it's my story. I want to be the patient, safe place for people. I want people to feel like they can be real and mess up and be silly, because they should be able to do that. You should, I should, we should, they should. From any realm. So I guess that was the thing today. I don't know. I don't know if that's energy related. I don't know if you're in the same place as me. I don't know if this has been on your mind and you can't quite dig your way out and you're not sure where to go. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, a doctor, a psychic. I'm nothing but a human having an experience. We're all just humans, even if we're mortals who are part monster, part witch. That was one of the messages. See how talking it out lets it all out when you can't remember? Because I should have written it all down, but who carries a notebook? I actually do usually. I need to put another one in my bag. One of the things when Sabrina had something to do, and was like, it's because you're part mortal, or it's because you're part monster. You know, not monster, but witch. They say witch. You're part witch. And that's all I can think. Again, when you meld, whether it be cultures, whether it be race, whether it be whatever else they call these things, when we meld, we get beautiful things. It's just our focus that matters. And so, because I'm part witch or part mortal, I see both sides. And that was something that came up. She was talking about, well, you're able to see kind of both worlds, but it wasn't that. And I don't remember what it was, because I was probably halfway paying attention, and they were like, you can see both because you are both. And by the way, that's not new. I've been this way my whole life. And like I said, I do think a Sagittarius, they're like a centaur. That's probably not what it's called in astrology, but they're part animal. I don't know if it's horse, I don't know if it's goat, I don't know what the fuck it is. They're part animal, part human, shooting that arrow. And this is apparently the year of Sagittarius, did they say? So yeah, this is the year for love. This is the year for love, light, joy, peace, epiphanies, wisdom. What's that word? What's the other word I'm looking for? Not epiphanies, but yeah, like revolutions. Okay, this is it. This is the year. And hopefully there are many, 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 many more to come. And we can all live in it. We can all do it. We can all be Sagittarius. We can all love everybody. Just love them. Not with your words, not with your emotions. I feel a thing and therefore it's love. No, love with your actions. Let me say it again without clapping. Love with actions. Act ions. When you act on ions around you and make actions and you do things, for one, make it match. Make it match. And don't accept anyone who you can clearly see. Don't make excuses. Don't ask questions. Just walk the F away from anyone whose words don't match their actions. Okay? Just walk away. But, yeah. Love people with actions. And you have to live to have a story to tell. And that is all. Peace. Love. Oh, I saw a thing that said, like, in the 70s or whatever, they started a thing, obviously. Oh, I should have kept this. But about hippies. And the original, like, love, peace, obviously. But, like, I don't remember now, and I hate that about my brain. There's just too much in there. Basically, I think it was, my interpretation is that it was basically saying, my alarm just went off, I've really got to leave now and go clock in. That they were the first, whatever, like, generation to begin the whole love and peace, love and peace, love and peace. And honestly, I will tell you, I think that it wouldn't have been possible without the plant. The plant's been helping me a lot. I do wish I could get it, and I know you can, but I'm me, in like an oil or like a drop, because I've been doing the gummies, which is supposed to be bad for your liver and so on and so forth. Anyway, love, peace, live, learn, love, and laugh. And we'll talk about that later, the whole order of it and why I felt like it was necessary to say it a certain way. Also working on my comedic stuff, and I've been getting a lot, and I need to start writing that down too, or just voicing it. Okay. Love and peace. Have a great day. You have to be present. You have to live in order to have a story to tell. You have to play your part. Not the part other people want you to play or that you think that they need you to play. Yours. Who are you? In this moment, right now, what would you want to do? What would you want to say? Not because of this or because of that. Who are you? What is your gut instinct, your heart, your mind, your third eye want to say and do? Okay, go do that now. Thank you. I love you. You are amazing, and you were put here for a reason. And God is you, and you are God, and God will take care of you.